Falling church family. And Lord, I ask you to please help us have a good week and a good rest of the day. And I thank you for everything. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
All right. So last week, remember, I had my sermon all written, I had everything ready, and then I sent out this little text message, and somebody else had a message, and I knew it. And so, as soon as Ken started delivering the message that he received, I knew why. I feel like this message follows that. And if you remember, we were talking about being in union with Christ. Interesting that last Sunday we also did communion. So again, to be one with Christ. And like that song talks about, is that God is coming to us with his arms wide open. And then with his arms wide open, his arms were ours were supposed to be. And I mean, and that's what makes us Christians, right? Is that we believe this. So I have some more questions for you all. I like questions. And they're tough questions. So I want you guys to think for a moment. What if this world was not made for your enjoyment, but rather to test you? What if when it says joy comes from the Lord, it isn't talking about anything that we can see, feel, or touch here on earth? And not just now, but through the entire history of people, how much time does everybody spend on trying to be happy? And what does being happy even mean? We spend a lot of time and agony on looking at ourselves and thinking that there's something we could change about our appearance. And then we say that part of our appearance is our fault. But then I ask you, has your appearance been a test at all? Or testing? We believe that the Bible is true, and it says that man was created in the image of God. So that means you are in the image of God. But how many people have self-image issues? I hear it in teenagers. They blame themselves for others that can't accept them for how they look. If only I were prettier. If only I were buffer, taller, shorter, had bigger arms, a bigger chest, smaller chest, bigger lips, smaller gut, longer hair, whatever, but different. Just not us. How many people wish they were skinnier? I knew, sorry, I kind of left the spot there because I knew that. But do you know that that's such a blessing? That's a blessed problem. Because there's a lot of skinny people in this world. And they're skinny because they're starving. We definitely are not starving, especially after a breakfast like we just had. We spend so much time on what we think others think about us that we forget that we are literally in the image of God. Now, I'm not saying don't take care of this body that God gave you. Be healthy, work out, exercise, try to make your vessel, your body last as long as it could. And in a thankful way to God that He gave you a body. But don't hate what's looking back at you in a mirror. We should love that. That is literally, God made you in His image. We're not supposed to be a glutton or a drunkard, but we are also not supposed to despise our own body or covet a different body. We are supposed to take care of the one that God gave us. If you have a bad knee, be thankful for the good knee. Or if you don't have a good knee, be thankful of when you did have a good knee. My back will spasm every once in a while, and as the years go on, it's happening more and more frequently. And now, every time I see something on the ground, I think, is today going to be another day where I'm going to throw my back out? But I still go for it. Now, I'm sure one day I'll say, nope, I ain't doing it. If you're having a year with illness or injury, it's a time to be thankful for the years that we were well, or that there was no sickness. I think about my body and how indestructible it was when I was 18 years old, especially my gut. When the boys go to AM/PM and get that fried food from the gas station, my stomach turns, and I remember being able to just eat it, no problem. We're coming out of a season of lots of illness, and it's interesting to think back of the time before COVID, and we talked about this, how it's going to be, one day we're going to say, man, I kind of don't really remember what it was like before COVID. But we're in a time of health right now. There's another illness going around that nobody knows what it is. They think it's a flu. They say it's not COVID, and then it turns out it is COVID. But anyway. So going back to the image of God and why we aren't supposed to hate this body, again, it's the one God gave us. We don't get another one. And God does not make mistakes. We tell our kids that. But if we're having a down day, I'm like, God, why didn't you make me taller? I can't reach the picture up there. That was literally yesterday. Our shelves are tall, and I'm like, there was a picture up top, and I said, well, it might as well be in the next town, because I can't reach it. We say God doesn't make mistakes. But then we question when we find ourselves in situations where we're questioning our life at that moment. But we talk about this over and over and over. God created you for a purpose. Your toughest times, your toughest days are only making you stronger, and they're adding to your story. where you get to give your testimony of Christ. I don't think that wanting to be skinnier will ever fix itself. I mean, unless we go into complete famine and then we're all super skinny. But the self-image issues are always going to be there. Even just talking about it, it's like, okay, now it's gone. The pastor said, don't have self-image issues, so now it's gone. I can't do that anymore. That's not going to happen. We're still going to be upset about our bellies, and we're going to want to be different and longer hair. If our hair starts falling out, we're going to say, I want more hair. If my hair starts turning gray, I'm going to say, I wish my hair was black again. My hair is not turning gray.
Really?
She highlights my hair for me when I go.
Especially the beard.
You know, as I talk to, so like this week, we had lots of really, really good Bible studies, right? And we're in the North classroom, where I'm the youngest one, and it's kind of nice. And then I have the Bible study on Wednesday nights, and again, I'm the youngest one, and it's pretty nice. But the studies in there are so awesome. We talk about so many different things, and it's interesting the way that it leads back to what we're talking about. And we are wretched people in the sense that we read the stories of the Israelites being saved and then turning away from God, switching everything for this false god named Baal. And what does Baal offer them? All the pleasures of the world. And we say, okay, well, we have Christ. And we sing songs like what we sing, the Red Letters, and we talk about having Christ. And when we sing those songs, we feel it. Who felt emotional today when they were singing? But then we go home and we warn each other about, okay, we got to be a Christian all the time. We got to follow God all the time. But we go home, and when we're all by ourselves, we're like, this body sucks. And it's not that we don't believe, and it's not that we don't have faith or have trust or have a relationship. But we end up seeking the things of this world. We end up seeking the approval of the world. You know, you go to a store and you see magazines of beautiful women up there. And what do they look like? And you see pictures of beautiful men, and what do they look like? They have abs. And I'm like, man, I haven't seen my abs since I was in high school.
What are they?
And what does it do? What does it create in us? It creates guilt. You know, you go home and you're like, oh man, I need to start eating healthy Oreos. I'm an Oreo. All right.
Tomorrow.
Okay, I'm going to eat healthy.
Tomorrow.
The pastor made French toast. Darn it. I'm going to start this. Oh, there's bacon? Oh, look at all this fruit here. And these sausages. Yes.
And no whipped cream.
So we cling so much to the things of this world, right? Of this earth. And we worship those things. Our body is literally one of the things of this world, of this earth. We need to treat it as a gift, but not make it our whole purpose. Like, I'm a short, fat little guy, but on the softball field, I'm fast. And I'm like, dang, I thank God for that gift to be fast or quick. But my top speed probably isn't great, but my short distance speed is good. We only have our body once. And, you know, we look back and we say, man, I wish I could go back to where how I looked then. But if you think back, even when you go back then, you're like, well, I didn't feel great then either. And if somebody popped out a camera to take a picture, you're like,
Blue in the face.
and it's God's image that you are talking bad about. When you talk bad about yourself and about your body, that's a gift that God gave you to serve Him. As a test from the beginning to the end, there are people that have never been able to walk, that have never had a good knee, that have never been overweight because they can't keep it on. And that's their gift. God created each one of you guys specifically for a purpose. That means that everything you've lived is for His purpose, that God did not get it wrong. But it is all a test. You are being tested. God gave you a life at a certain time. You know, how many of us say, man, I wish I was supposed to be born 100 years ago. Times were simpler, you know, everything was better. Because I'm reading the story of how things were better, or 200 years ago in the Wild West and everything was cool, and I want to go back to that. I should have been born then. Yeah, the average age of a man was like 24 years old. Not good. We are blessed to be in the time that we are, with the life that we have, and the body that we have, with the knowledge that we have. We have more abilities to decipher this book and to understand this book than ever in history. To have a closer and deeper relationship than ever in history. You know, at one point, the only people who knew how to read were the teachers in the church. And the only way the people could understand the word was if it was told to them. And then later, artists started drawing the stories of the Bible. And so in our day, we get to watch the Bible with actors and, you know, a scenery that mimics what we're reading in here in the country of where this was written. We have an opportunity to build a relationship, to be in union with Christ. We are in a time of plenty. We talk about the price of gas being too expensive, the price of milk being too expensive. It's not that expensive. I ain't getting any skinnier. We can't spend all of our time trying to change our life, our body, to be better, because we only have one life here on earth to serve God. So take care of this body. Treat it well. Give thanks because of that body, but use it to serve. You are being tested. You are supposed to be living a life for God. Whether it's standing, sitting, lying down, running, walking, crawling. Let's go to John chapter 5, please. I'll read it off there. So we're going to go all the way through 15. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Everybody's heard this story, right? We're going to look at a different perspective of this. Here, a great number of disabled people used to lie the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. Because it's NIV.
Okay.
So right here is where it says that an angel or a spirit would come down and stir the waters. That's all it's missed. So then it says, one who was there. Oh, and then once he stirred the waters, it would it would announce to the people around that the first one into the water would be healed. So that's what John 5:4 says. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred, while I am trying to get in. Someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." At once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. The day on which this took place was the Sabbath. And so the Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "It is the Sabbath. The law forbids you to carry your mat." But he replied, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" So they asked him, "Who is this fellow, and who told you to pick it up and walk?" The man who was healed had no idea who it was, for Jesus had slipped away into the crowd that was there. Later, Jesus found him at the temple and said to him, "See, you are well again. Stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you." The man went away and told the Jewish leaders that it was Jesus who had made him well. This man, amongst all the other people sitting by the pool of Bethesda, wasted their life that God gave them because they were unhappy with their body, because they were comparing it to the people who could walk on 2 legs, because they wanted to change their body so much that they quit living until their body would be changed. That's no different than how we will ourselves not do things because we are unhappy with our body. I don't know how many times I will refuse to go swimming because I don't want to take off my shirt. Well, one day I may not be able to swim, and I'm wasting my life not going swimming because I won't take off my shirt. Well, my knees are hurting me more. My lungs aren't working as good. My shoulder dislocates. My back goes out. If I wait any longer, I won't be able to go swimming at all. And it will have nothing to do with how I look. Next slide, please. Now we go to Luke chapter 11. When Jesus had finished speaking, a Pharisee invited him to eat with him. So he went in and reclined at the table. But the Pharisee was surprised when he noticed that Jesus did not first wash before the meal. Then the Lord said to him, "Now then, you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You foolish people, did not the one who made the outside make the inside also? But now, as for what is inside you, be generous to the poor, and everything will be clean for you. Woe to you Pharisees, because you give God a tenth of your mint, rue, and all other kinds of garden herbs, but you neglect justice and the love of God. You should have practiced the latter without leaving the former undone. Woe to you Pharisees, because you love the most important seats in the synagogues and respectful greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, because you are like unmarked grapes, which people walk over without knowing it." One of the experts in the law answered him, "Teacher, when you say these things, you insult us also." Jesus replied, "And you experts in the law, woe to you, because you load people down with burdens they can hardly carry, and you yourselves will not lift one finger to help them. Woe to you, because you build tombs for the prophets, and it was your ancestors who killed them. So you testify that you approve of what your ancestors did. They killed the prophets, and you build their tombs. Because of this, God in his wisdom said, I will send them prophets and apostles, some of whom they will kill, and others they will persecute. Therefore, this generation will be held responsible for the blood of all the prophets that has been shed since the beginning of the world. From the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who was killed between the altar and the sanctuary. Yes, I tell you, this generation will be held responsible for it all. Woe to you experts in the law, because you have taken away the key to knowledge. You yourselves have not entered, and you have hindered those who were entering. When Jesus went outside, the Pharisees and the teachers of the law began to oppose him fiercely and to besiege him with questions, waiting to catch him in something he might say. The world is convincing. The world will tell you what you should look like, what to seek. And Christ is saying, who are you inside? Where is your heart? Even then, he's saying, you guys focus on the outside, not on the inside. Quit spending time on only the outside and focus on the inside. Part of this on the outside is our test. Why are we here on earth? Is it to try to beautify the outside the whole time, from time of birth to time of death, to make sure that the outside of who we are is so pretty? Or should we be working on the inside of ourselves? Next slide, please. Going over to chapter 12, 22 through 34. Then Jesus said to his disciples, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food. I need to say that to myself like 100 times. Life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Pause there. So when I think of, what do we say about colorful birds? That they're beautiful, right? They're gorgeous. They weren't made in God's image. Just saying. We say that birds are beautiful. Has anybody ever seen a fat bird? Birds are beautiful. It doesn't matter. They're just beautiful. A fat bird to me is one that's going to be healthy to harvest. We look at animals all over and we say they're beautiful. And flowers, we're about to get to, and they're gorgeous. They literally were not made in God's image. You were. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Is that it? No, I thought we needed to go work. 34, yes, next slide, come on. Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be. So I ask you again, what if this world was not made for your enjoyment, but rather to test you? Love the body, the life, the experience, the family, the job, the friends, the house, the clothes, the cars, the school, the pain, the suffering. Love it all, because this is the life that God has set out for you. Today is another day, a new day, where we get to repent, where we get to serve, where we get to praise, where we get to worship, and where we get to be in union with God, studying the Word, fellowshipping with each other, loving this world, and loving ourselves. God made you in his image. You are beautiful. Take care of that vessel. It's God's temple. Worship God. Father God Almighty, Lord, we just give thanks and praise, Lord, for this day, for this church, for your word. Lord, I ask that you would give us the strength and courage to truly follow you. Lord, help us with our self-image issues. Allow us to love ourselves so that we could just focus on you. Thank you for the kids, the music, for Buddy, for my wife, for this day. In Jesus' name, amen. Go in peace. Serve the Lord.